Welcome to Headline to Heartline. Before Meghan Markle entered the frame, Prince Harry's charity work carried a particular reputation: steady, duty-bound, and unusually serious for a modern royal. After Meghan, the same public began reading his every charitable move through a different lens, one shaped less by outcomes and more by optics. That shift is the story today. Not to crown a villain, but to clarify what is actually happening when charities quietly cool on a royal name, and why the Sentebale rupture at the beginning of 2026 matters beyond one organization. Because in early 2026, reporting made it clear that Prince Harry will not return to Sentebale, the charity he co-founded in 2006. Not a pause, not a recalibration, a door closing. And once a door closes in the charity world, it rarely closes for only one reason. At first glance, this kind of headline tempts us toward the dramatic explanation. Did he fall out of favor? Did donors recoil? Did the palace quietly squeeze the oxygen out of the room? And then, almost automatically, modern royal coverage pulls Meghan into the center of the picture, not always as the cause, but as the accelerant. Here is where precision matters, because precision is the difference between analysis and rumor. Institutions rarely react to a single individual as a legal cause. They react to the atmosphere that gathers around a name. That is perception-driven institutional behavior, and with Meghan, the perception component is unusually visible. You do not need insider briefings to see it. Open any major social platform, type her name, and watch how quickly the conversation spikes into certainty, emotion, and division. This matters because charities do not operate in an ideal world where only facts exist. They operate in the real one, where public sentiment moves faster than governance, and where donor confidence can wobble before a board meeting even begins. In that environment, it is not necessary for an allegation to be proven for an association to feel costly. It only needs to become distracting. Meghan, fairly or unfairly, has become a name that triggers strong reactions immediately. That is not a moral judgment, it is a market condition. The response to her presence is often fast, emotional, and polarized. That polarization is what institutions fear, not because they are delicate in principle, but because they are fragile in practice. Budgets are thin, staff are stretched, missions cannot afford to be hijacked by arguments that have nothing to do with beneficiaries. There is also a sharper layer that critics voice more bluntly. Many do not merely say Meghan draws attention. They say her public appearances feel managed, camera-aware, calculated. That is a perception, not a provable fact, and it should be labeled honestly as such. But perceptions, when widespread and persistent, still become operationally relevant. Institutions make decisions based on how audiences are likely to react, not only on how a person intends to behave. Now, let us clarify the opening claim that Harry's charitable identity once looked different, and that this difference is not imagined. Long before Meghan, Harry built a portfolio that resembled traditional royal service, and in some cases went deeper than that. He co-founded Sentebale with a focused mission in southern Africa. He created the Invictus Games around rehabilitation and recovery for wounded service members. He held long-term patronage roles with charities supporting seriously ill children. These were not one-off photo opportunities. They were sustained commitments that signaled reliability and seriousness, the kind charities historically value. This is not nostalgia, it is contrast, because charities now operate under a harsher set of incentives. They do not primarily fear scandal, they fear becoming a battleground. An organization can survive a bad headline. What it cannot survive is a prolonged argument that follows it into boardrooms, donor meetings, and staff conversations. Persistent controversy drains time, attention, and trust. It hijacks the mission. This is where Harry's current brand becomes structurally difficult. His name now arrives with an attached debate larger than any single charity can contain. A simple appearance can trigger parallel narratives about the monarchy, family rupture, media warfare, privacy, lawsuits, and credibility. Charities do not have the capacity to host those debates. Staff do not want to spend their days fielding questions about royal conflict while delivering health care or education. Trustees do not want annual reports to read like referendums on the Sussexes. Donors do not want their giving interpreted as taking sides. So, when people say charities are blacklisting him, the word is usually wrong in the literal sense. There is rarely a formal list, but it can be accurate in practice. Charities apply a quieter filter. Invitations thin out, roles narrow, associations become shorter, safer, and more transactional, not out of cruelty, but out of fiduciary duty. This is what that filter looks like in 2026. Donor confidence is brittle. Corporate partners are increasingly intolerant of perceived partisanship. They will fund causes, they will not fund public battles. Governance expectations are stricter. Trustees must justify decisions based on institutional interest, not glamour, access, or symbolism. A celebrity partnership that raises reputational risk has to defend itself in ways it did not have to 10 or 15 years ago. Staff and beneficiaries have louder voices. Many charities have learned that high-profile patrons can create internal strain. If an association makes staff feel politicized, targeted, or unsafe, the cost is real, even if it never appears in a press release. Beneficiaries should not be placed in the slipstream of controversies they did not choose. Attention itself has become scarce. Charities want attention that points outward, toward impact, not attention that loops endlessly back to celebrity identity. In today's media environment, that loop is increasingly unavoidable, especially when a figure reliably triggers instant polarization. This is why the Sentebale moment matters beyond Harry. It marks the collapse of an old bargain. It shows that even deeply authentic associations, built over years, can become untenable when reputational load outweighs institutional benefit. And if there is a legally clean, intellectually honest way to describe Meghan's role and how this is read, it is this. She is not the proven cause of governance outcomes. She is the perception trigger. Her name reliably activates a fast, emotionally charged public argument that institutions cannot control and do not have the bandwidth to host. Whether that perception is fair does not change the institutional calculus, because charities are managing not only truth, but attention, donor confidence, and operational survival. In 2026, gatekeepers are no longer asking whether someone is famous. They are asking whether they can carry the story that comes with that person without losing the story they exist to tell. Thank you for listening, and when a public door quietly stops opening, remember what it usually means. Somewhere, someone decided the mission could not afford the noise.